Support WrestleTalk!
Hello, I'm Adam from WrestleTalk, and welcome to our weekly roundup of some of the smaller news stories that fell like grains of soil through Ollie Davis' clutching little fingers, scrabbling in the dirt for tiny little nuggets of gold with increasing desperation in his eyes. Not everything makes it onto the daily news, that's why I'm here, fistful of gold flakes, eat 'em up piggies, num nums. As always, let us know what you think, what it is you'd like to see from these lists. Help us help you, we'd love your input, and we'll chat it through with you in the comments. I'm Adam from WrestleTalk, and here are 7 wrestling news stories you might have missed. Remember to let us know what you think of these stories in the comments. We'll be in there for a chat, and throw us a subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you enable notifications for that daily wrestling news you know and love. And to make sure you subscribe, here's a joke. I was leaving work and saw that someone had keyed into the side of my car the letters G-A-N-B, and I thought, whoa, that's bang out of order. Subscribe, bastards. Number 1, Chris Bay joins Bullet Club. Impact Wrestling's Slammiversary pay-per-view last Saturday closed with New Japan's Bullet Club leader and never openweight champion, Switchblade Jay White, making his shock appearance, either challenging Kenny Omega for the Impact title or wanting to too-sweet him. The broadcast cut off before you could find out. Turns out White wasn't done, as Switchblade turned up again at Impact's block of TV tapings, which started airing as of Thursday 22nd, where White offered former X-Division champion Chris Bay a spot in Bullet Club. That's right, for those of you keeping score, a New Japan faction recruited an Impact talent the same week that a New Japan title changed hands on an episode of Dynamite between 2 AEW contracted wrestlers. Meanwhile, WWE spent the week flipping its own developmental brand, The Bird. White might need the extra Bullet Club backup on American shores, as he declared himself the real belt collector, though with his collection currently standing at just 1, that's like me calling myself the sofa collector. Spoilers incoming, so skip ahead 20 seconds if you don't want to know. Bay and White would lose to the Good Brothers in a match later on, but then defeat Finjuice on another episode, after which White gave Bay a Bullet Club shirt. The two pose and do the too sweet, like it's 2013 or 1996 all over again, depending on your perspective. Chris Bay tweeted a possible tag team name with Switchblade Jay White as Beyblade, which Twitter user Funk and Tony Dodge quickly mocked up. Toy-loving nerds. Number 2, Money in the Bank producers take a bow. The day after Slammiversary saw WWE put on its best pay-per-view of the year so far, possibly of the last few years, Money in the Bank. Not only did Luke Owen win our version, the Jam in the Jar, which guarantees him a shot at the championship whenever he wants it, congratulations Luke, and Laurie beat me to become number 1 contender at Summer Jam. You Laurie, PW Insider has also revealed which backstage agents were behind the layout and bookings of each match. Step right up and accept your praise. Tag team extraordinaire Devon Dudley produced the Usos versus the Mysterios on the pre-show. The former Abyss from TNA Chris Parks booked AJ Styles and Omos versus the Viking Raiders, presumably because he's also a big fella who knows how to make big fella matches exciting. Jason Jordan and Jamie Noble produced Bobby Lashley's squash of Kofi Kingston, the Devilish Bastards. Definitely not Raw General Manager Adam Pearce laid out Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. That match ruled. TJ Wilson and Pat Buck, who often have a hand in the women's matches, booked the ladies' Money in the Bank. Michael Hayes agented Roman Reigns versus Edge. And finally, Jamie Noble and Shane Helms produced the men's ladder match, which Dave Meltzer gave 4 3/4 stars to, which honestly is stingy. It's the best of all time. Number 3, Linda McMahon was at Money in the Bank. It wasn't just John Cena who made his return at Money in the Bank. He unfortunately overshadowed Linda McMahon, who was spotted ringside by the crowd, clapping along for Cena's show-closing comeback. 2 thunderous returns in one night. Gosh, we're spoiled. And in a heartwarming display of kindness, fan at Chris Dizzon on Twitter captured her letting a young child excitedly stand next to her despite security trying to take the kid away. Let them fight. And it wasn't just Linda who was hanging out with the return of WWE to live touring. PW Insider also noted Undertaker and Michelle McCool were visiting backstage at the following night's Raw in Dallas, Texas, as they only live a few hours away in Austin. Michelle McCool was even spotted at ringside, where she posted about the 2 signs her daughters held up, one reading, "My mom can beat all the women here," which Tamina and Natalia mock argued with, and the other reading, "My dad can beat all these guys." Way to bury the roster, little girls. Also, please don't give Vince ideas. Karrion Kross can only be pinned so much. Number 4, Jake Roberts signs with AEW. With all the confirmed and rumoured signings this week, one legend's name got lost in the mix, with Jake the Snake Roberts revealing in an interview with kindest man in the history of wrestling, Diamond Dallas Page, that he recently signed a 2-year contract extension with AEW. He went on to say his original deal was just for 10 weeks of programming, and at the 8-week mark, some guy told him to sign papers to make it a full year. He said, "I buzzed Tony. I said, hey, I've got 4 weeks left. What do you want me to do? I need to know so I can start setting up my stuff." And he says, "You need to sign another piece of paper. paper and I signed again, and then after I signed it, I found out it wasn't for a year, it was for more than a year, it was for 2 years. He's such a wonderful man. He gave me my love for wrestling back, and it's great to be a part of it. And honestly, from our perspective, watching a healthy and happy Jake Roberts on AEW programming remains one of the most heartwarming aspects of AEW in 2020. Number 5, Malakai Black shoots on WWE. Aleister Black was shockingly released by WWE at the start of June, despite only just returning to SmackDown for a feud with Big E. Luckily for him, WWE made a mistake in his contract, meaning he could debut somewhere else in just 30 days rather than the usual 90-day non-compete clause. Whoopsie poopsie. He's now told Metal Injection that despite WWE wanting to bring him back, with reports that Triple H specifically wanted him to return to NXT, joining AEW was his immediate thought process upon being fired. And he wasn't done there, shooting on WWE's booking of him and of their roster in general. I was sick of it even before everything went down. I loved my time in NXT, but I felt I did nothing of importance on the main roster. It was too much bipolar 50-50 booking. They would push me, then pull me off TV. And yeah, can't argue with that. Number 6, Mick Foley calls out Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is currently trying to make his feud with Jinder Mahal on Raw interesting, which is a feat that neither Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, or AJ Styles could manage, but give it a go, lad. His latest tactic this past Monday, after ripping apart a Vroom Vroom the week before, was to hit Jinder's goon Shanky on the back with a steel chair over 30 times, with a further 2,988 camera cuts. WWE shared photos of the bruises and cuts on Shanky's body, leading Mick Foley, who knows a thing or two about being hit too many times with a steel chair, to condemn the angle on Twitter. Big fan of Drew's, but 20 chair shots should either be done to build a feud of epic proportions, or they shouldn't be done at all. Ouch. And number 7, fans hijack NXT. Karrion Kross's 2-minute loss to Jeff Hardy on his main roster debut as NXT champion has led many to accuse Vince of intentionally burying his third brand, with some speculating it's because NXT lost the Wednesday Night Wars to AEW. Reporter John Alber has tweeted that's pretty much the case. Sources in WWE tell me WWE NXT is officially viewed internally as developmental rather than the third brand, as Paul Levesque's team has promoted over the past few years. That does have consequences for NXT itself, as it comes out fans were jeering so badly at a recent show that an entire segment had to be retaped. NXT has been bumped to Sci-Fi for the next 2 weeks because of the Olympics, so WWE pre-recorded both episodes in advance on Wednesday. Bodyslam.net has reported that because the Capital Wrestling Center crowd wouldn't stop chanting Hardy at Cross, NXT had to reshoot his entire segment with Samoa Joe at the end of the night. Apparently they kept fans around by telling them there would be a surprise when they thought tapings were done, and surprise, it's the segment you've already seen being done again, and you will behave better for it this time. Maybe this is what happens when you book your NXT champion like Who knows? Who knows? And that's our list of wrestling stories you might have missed this week. Remember to subscribe to WrestleTalk for daily wrestling news, and if you want more lists, head on over to our other wrestling channel, Parts Fun Known Now, to watch a brand new one that's just dropped. 10 times wrestling fans invaded a show.